Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're exploring a seriously fascinating framework that can completely transform how we understand teamwork, personal development, and growth within our relationships. Whether you're in a brand new relationship, you've been married for decades, or you're just looking to reflect on how to improve yourself for a future partnership, this material is absolutely universally applicable. We're going to look at how team building in a couple is vital, not just for your own individual self-development, but for your entire family life, because it deeply affects the children involved too. We've got a really clear roadmap today. We'll start with growing up healthy, move into the 5 love textures, see how those play out in your partnership, look at the impact on the family, and finally, set a 40-day growth goal. Section 1. Growing up healthy and our hopes for our children's development. Let's look at how universal, healthy behavioral patterns begin way before adulthood. It all starts when we're just kids. I want you to ask yourself a question. What do we actually hope for our children? What universal traits do we genuinely hope our kids develop so they can build constructive, successful lives? As humans, we recognize certain patterns of behavior as healthy simply because they work. But what are they exactly? Well, it usually boils down to these fundamentals. We want them to be good team players, express their unique creativity, become sensible and rational, be motivated to nurture themselves and others, and learn to protect themselves from harm. Think about it. We want them to embrace the rules of the classroom, to express their individuality, to learn to dress themselves, study hard, and just flat out refuse to participate in stuff that causes harm. Moving into Section 2, the 5 love textures. Here is where the source material makes a really compelling pivot. How do these exact childhood milestones show up in our marriages and long-term partnerships? Because we don't just leave these traits in the sandbox, right? They become the very textures of how we express love as adults. Let's look at the first texture, the free or creative child. Now, as we go through these 5 textures, I want you to mentally rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 for each. How well do you feel you express this specific type of love in your relationship? No judgment at all, just some honest reflection. This first texture shows up in daily life through actions that bring absolute joy to your home. It's stuff like stringing up holiday lights, sharing a fun hobby, or just intentionally romancing your partner. It's that amazing ability to quickly say, "Hey, I'm sorry," when you've messed up. It's making time for a simple board game or a walk together. Infusing your relationship with playfulness and humor keeps the family environment vibrant, which, by the way, is incredibly healthy for children to witness. Now for the second texture, the team player child. This shifts our focus to how well we operate within the group that is our relationship and our family. This one is all about equity and support. It's making sure household duties, like doing the dishes, are divided fairly. It's about keeping your promises, expressing real loyalty by talking up your partner's good points to other people, and taking a hard look at your own behavior to ensure you're being a solid role model for your team. You evaluate yourself before you ever start judging your partner. Let's transition to the third texture, the sensible adults. This is the anchor for household stability. It's that grounded, rational energy that keeps the whole family moving forward safely. Notice how highly practical this is. It's about day-to-day management. Can you make plans and actually achieve them together? It's eating well, staying reasonably organized, and sitting down for regular family meetings to hash out problems or sync up your schedules. When kids grow up in a home anchored by sensible adults, they feel a deep sense of security. Up next is the fourth texture, the nurturing parent. This beautifully captures how partners can act as mentors and active supporters for one another, and of course, for their kids. The true beauty of this texture is patience and care. It's about actively listening to your partner's wild dreams, maybe over a quiet cup of coffee in the morning, and genuinely seeking to understand how you can support them. Do you praise and encourage your partner? Helping them see their own higher potential is one of the most profound acts of love you can offer in a long-term relationship. And finally, we reach our fifth texture, the protective parent. This is all about establishing safety and maintaining boundaries within the family system, just making sure the environment stays constructive. This covers a lot of ground. It includes the emotional protection of working through tough disagreements and setting clear boundaries, all the way to the literal protection of making sure the bills are paid and the insurance is up to date. It's stepping up to do more when your spouse is completely exhausted or sick. And yes, it involves effectively disciplining children because that protects them and teaches them the boundaries of the real world. On to Section 3, textures in your partnership and balancing different competencies. Let's explore how these 5 textures actually interact when 2 highly unique individuals come together to build a life. Because let's be real,
We don't all show up with a perfect 10 out of 10 in every single category, do we?
It is entirely typical for partners to have totally different competencies. Maybe one of you brings the playful, creative energy and the deep nurturing, while the other is the ultimate sensible team player who protects the family's boundaries. Listen, differing strengths aren't flaws. They are the complementary puzzle pieces that allow the family system to function. You literally fill in each other's gaps. Section 4. Impact on the family. Here we uncover one of the most powerful values of this entire framework. It gives couples a clear, shared vocabulary to actually talk about their relationship. By using this specific language, couples can actively define and appreciate each other's contributions. You can say something like, "Darling, I really appreciate it that you are so sensible when it comes to our accounts." It creates this completely judgment-free zone for mutual appreciation. Instead of vague compliments, you can say, "I really appreciated your protective parent energy when you stepped in while I was sick." Or, "Hey, I'd like to talk about how we can protect our kids better from online content." It totally neutralizes defensive reactions because you're using a constructive framework to talk about growth. And finally, Section 5, your 40-day growth goal. Let's take everything we just talked about and turn it into actionable self-development. Because a healthy system constantly requires us to grow, and self-development is the actual engine that drives a thriving family life. I'd highly encourage you to treat these 4 steps like a mini workshop. First, acknowledge your own strengths. Second, appreciate what your partner brings to the table. Third, identify where you need to grow. Maybe you've realized you need to be more of a sensible adult by initiating weekly family meetings, or more of a team player around the house. And fourth, commit to a 40-day learning goal. Let AI help you create a plan, read some articles, or watch a few videos on that specific skill. And definitely ask your spouse to support you by giving you a high five or some praise when you get it right. I want to leave you with this final powerful thought. Look inward, consider the 5 textures we just explored, and ask yourself, which expression of love are you being called to develop today? Because when you commit to growing just one of these textures, you don't just change yourself. You elevate your entire partnership, you secure your family's foundation, and you model an incredible blueprint of love for the next generation. So which texture are you going to weave into your life next?